I seem to recall promising in a previous video that I wouldn't use this intro anymore because it was accordingly tuned with a corny montage, and I generally don't like opening sequences for videos that are essentially rather short. But I figured today warranted. But yeah. In any case, this is something I just wanted to get onto audio while it was fresh on my mind. And just before, as a recording of it, I'm an hour away from the start of Monday Night Raw, which will no doubt enthrall me with high quality matches and top notch entertainment. The truth is a bit of stretching in that statement, though it depends on what happens on the show actually. But I just want to get this off my mind while it was still fresh. But I guess I could start off with a bit of a build up, a bit of a opening spiel of sorts that I've scripted out here for some reason. In a few weeks, World Wrestling Entertainment will hold their annual extravaganza, WrestleMania 27, in Atlanta, Georgia. One of the featured bouts to be heavily promoted in their television is a match between Triple H and The Undertaker in a no-holds-barred matchup. A battle of two senior citizens in a no-holds-barred, anything-goes contest, with no signs of this being turned into a bottle of Geritol on a pole match. Bonus points for anyone who catches that reference. I, for one, am not looking forward to this match because, in all honesty, I've already seen this match before. 10 years ago, in fact. When it was WrestleMania 17 and Undertaker beat Triple H rather handily back then. And I've no real desire to see these guys go out at it now since they move a bit slower and are more likely to break down due to Trip and his quad and Undertaker with anything. But as if you saw the Royal Rumble this past year and you saw Kevin Nash as Diesel making a big comeback and not blowing a quad for walking across the ring, I guess anything's possible and we might get a decent match. Plus, the no holds barred stipulation might help to make the match more enjoyable, so they don't have to worry about doing fancy moves that might tear a quad or anything. And, just give us a good, hard-hitting, scripted fight, and I'll be happy. If Shawn Michaels Undertaker could blow the house away in recent years, their past two WrestleMania efforts, very little reason to believe that he of the three H's won't pull off the same result, even if it's of a lesser quality, because let's face it, as good as Triple H is, he's no Shawn Michaels. You know. So you know what? I'm not looking forward to this match, but no real desire for it. But you know what? Who knows? They might surprise me. What I do know is that for all of my misgivings in this contest between two guys that have been around forever, I can take solace in the fact that if these two were to go at it and claim the main event spot at WrestleMania, I wouldn't put it past them to do so. But if that were the case, I could take solace in the fact that it is not going to last as long as the trip to the John Cena. You see, folks, this past Sunday I got the chance to catch the main event of TNA's most recent pay-per-view offering, Victory Road 2011. And this was a main event that baffled me to no ends, and even less than 24 hours after the conclusion of the event, I'm still at a loss to understand what motivation and logic goes into the thinking that this main event was a viable and acceptable means of ending a predetermined professional wrestling sports entertainment event that people paid money for the privilege of watching in the comforts of their own homes. I'm at a loss to understand the mindset of those who thought that this was a perfect way to cap off weeks worth of build-up on free television. I can't understand it because I have the common sense to believe that this is not a good plan to end a show and ensure that people will buy into your product in the future, whether it be through house show sales or merchandise or pay-per-views, if they even keep the concept around. Now, for those of you who have no idea as to what I'm talking about here, the pay-per-view featured a TNA World Heavyweight Championship match between the 52-year-old senior citizen World Heavyweight Champion Sting, defending his title against the convicted drug trafficking former world champion Jeff Hardy. Just before the match began, it was announced that the match would be a no disqualification match, a last-minute change that wasn't advertised beforehand. And I'm cool with that because it allows Sting or Jeff Hardy to hide the fact that they're not as nimble as they used to be. So we could forego the fancy stuff and get to the nitty-gritty. We could expect a good, hard-hitting, scripted battle. As Jeff Hardy attempts to reclaim his Divas Championship from the man they called old. I mean Sting. Sting's right. I don't mean the man they call Sting. The old man they call Sting. I mean the man they call, well, whatever. So the match goes like this. The bell sounds. Jeff Hardy stalls for a long time. He's just walking around the ring. Half the match practically. It's just stalling. The two lock up. Sting kicks Hardy, punches him a couple times, executes his DDT, reverse DDT finisher, and wins the match, retains the title. And that's it. That's the whole match. All of that wonderful action took place within a span of 1 minute and 28 seconds. Now, if this were an actual competitive event like boxing or MMA, UFC, that sort of thing, I'd accept the possibility of the main event being a quick one because it's a real event. There's always a possibility that the promoted main event between two fighters would last a minute into the first round or something because of a quick knockout. You know what? That's believable. I can accept that. And I could sort of understand what they were trying to go for. It's like the mindset being that, trying to get into the mindset that, it could a quick match in a wrestling context would be possible. I tried what they're going for, but it doesn't work, especially for the main event. Because in the context of a professional wrestling sports entertainment endeavor, a form of entertainment that is choreographed, scripted, predetermined, show, and act. You know, this, in that context, this is essentially the equivalent of a piss break, a match where nothing of interest is going to take place, last a couple minutes. Two guys that nobody could give a rat's ass about. So it's usually a good time to go to the washroom and relieve yourself, or if you're at home, you could cook up a quick snack, or if you're at the event, you could go to the concessions and buy beers or a snack, or get a T-shirt or something. This is usually perfect for an undercard for a pay-per-view. Just before the big events or before the matches you're promoting. Right? This is not how you end your pay-per-view. This is not how you conduct the main event of a show that people paid money for. And this is especially not how you conduct a World Championship match on a pay-per-view event that people paid money to watch. That was promoted and pushed for weeks as the main reason people would want to pay money for. This is a farce. This felt phoned in. This gave me the impression that none of these folks cared about giving the people their money's worth, especially if they chose to go out on that note with the 2-minute main event that was essentially a glorified squash match. Now, I'm not going to base my opinion of an entire pay-per-view event on that one match alone because that wouldn't be fair. And while I'll admit to not having seen the entire pay-per-view, only chunks of it here and there, I'm happy to say that what I saw, I actually enjoyed. I thought the X Division match, the Ultimate X, I think it is, was fun to watch. I thought what little I saw of the tag match was actually pretty interesting. Was worthwhile. Good match there. I enjoyed the AJ Styles match with, I forgot who his name is. And, it was like, little I saw very little of it, but what I saw I actually enjoyed. So if I'm able to catch the whole pay per view on when the DVD comes out, maybe I might be interested in catching the whole thing. But the thing is that as good as those matches potentially were, or as bad as those matches potentially were, the fact is that none of those matches are the main event. Even though a couple of them should have been the main event, like number one contender between two guys who could actually work. That would have been worthwhile. If that one ended in a double count out or double disqualification, there was no winner, which was also a bit of a cop out. But in any case, none of those matches were promoted as the main reason people would want to buy that pay-per-view. That the focal point was the main event, the championship match between Sting and Jeff Hardy, and the match lasted a minute and a half, lasted 90 seconds. The match blew. Now look, I don't want to seem like I'm upset by this because, what, despite my tone of voice and some of the choice words that I have, I'm really not upset. Like I said, I'm baffled as to why the TNA bookers thought that the match and the way it was booked was a good conclusion to the pay-per-view. I'd really like to know what the thinking was because I can't think of any reason as to why that's a good idea. Might be a chance that one of them wasn't well enough to work a long match. I don't know, Sting or Jeff Hardy if he was high or something. If that was the case, then the match shouldn't have been booked to begin with. They should have had like another match, with equal or greater entertainment value. You had, have like Sting, or could have Sting. One guy on War suggested you have the quick match, and then some other guy from the back will challenge Sting for a world title. And you make up for, the time that you have. The match is only a minute and a half. You have another one being 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I'll accept a quick 5 minute match. At least it's something. Yeah, something more than the 90-second squash match that we got before. I don't claim to know the reason as to why they went that way, because I don't. If I did, I wouldn't be baffled by this decision making process. Chances are, if I knew the reason, it'd probably be a stupid reason, and I'd be upset about it and be bitching about it, or probably won't be bitching about it. I probably wouldn't care enough to record this in the beginning. So, what a way to end a pay per view, huh? Like, if anyone has any thoughts and theories as to why some people might think this was a good way to end a pay per view, or why they believe that this was a good way to end a pay per view, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And, just, the comments are there, man. If you have a good idea, I'd love to hear it, because I honestly can't think of anything. And I can't, like I said, I didn't buy the event, my friend did, but, and he didn't catch the main event, like, but I did. He was doing some stuff about it. I caught the main event. And I told him, if I were a paying customer, if I did buy this and that was the match that they ended the pay per view on, then there was only one term that I could properly define what this match represents: a ripoff. So yeah, on that note, I'm going to end it right here. And like I said, if anyone has a viable explanation as to why this would be a good way to end a pay-per-view, I'm all, the comments are there, just blah 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 blah, and I'll let you people do the thinking for me, because quite frankly, I'd like to move on to other things. And if you like to move on to the other things too, then I won't blame you one bit. But in any case, on that note, I'm gonna call it a night, and I'll probably come up with more thought-provoking material in the near future. We'll see. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. But until then, take care. Good night. Bye.